Hello there, this is Sarah Nadler. I am the marketing consultant here at Silkin Management Group. And today we're going to do a short webinar on the subject of email marketing and automation and how you can use them to benefit your practice by bringing in more patients and clients. So I'm going to let everybody in here. Just so you know, I will not be answering any questions throughout this webinar. I will just be speaking. So if you want to add in some questions, that's all right, but I will not be answering them until the end. All right, so let's take a look at this. What is email marketing? Email marketing is actually quite vital for anyone who is doing digital advertising of any kind. So let's say you are placing Facebook ads or you're boosting your posts, you're running a Google ad, etc. There's certain statistics that you should be aware of. 6 to 7% of people who click on your ad, whether you're offering a downloadable coupon or you're promoting some kind of what we would call a lead magnet, any kind of lead magnet where, you know, download this ebook in exchange for an email, or download this coupon, come in now. Only 6 to 7% of people will actually open the thing you send them or offer them in your ad and buy it now. So for doctors, for veterinarians, for optometrists and dentists, what this means is if you're running an ad on Facebook, only 6 or 7% of the people who click on it will actually take the action you want them to take. Now, in order to boost those numbers, what you have to do is build a relationship with that person, because an additional 30% of people are open to, you know, purchasing something or signing up or coming into your practice in the future. So we can go from 6 to 7% success rate for your ad to up to 40%. That's adding an additional 30-something% of people simply by continuously building a relationship. Now, the fastest, cheapest, easiest way to build that relationship is by capturing their email address and doing automated email marketing. So we're going to talk about how to do that. Now, I did write an article on this subject. It's called The Likeable Doctor. And the subject of that article is, well, you've got their email. Now what do you do, right? So you can feel free to download that book from our website. If you're looking for our website, it's silkinmarketing.site. That's SILKIN marketing.site, S-I-T-E. So go ahead and jump on over there if you want to get a free copy of this email marketing article that I wrote, okay? Okay, so let's go into how you do this exactly. So first of all, when it comes to marketing, digital marketing, your email list is your most valuable asset. Okay, you really got to get that concept, because in my experience with working with clients who are veterinarians and dentists and optometrists, they don't value their email address list enough. Now, when it comes to email marketing, more is more, not less. So a healthy, fat email list literally represents thousands of dollars in your pocket. But just like an indoor plant or organic vegetable patch, your email list is worthless unless you nurture and care for it. Honestly, I know who has time, right, to do gardening, much less email thousands of people individually. So what we do in order to keep your email list and the people on it feeling engaged and entertained on a regular basis is we use email automation. Things like Infusionsoft, MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, these types of systems, they will send automated emails for you in a sort of do it once and then it's done. It continues on thereafter without your attention being put on it. So that's the kind of system I'm talking about when I talk about email marketing. All right, so let's say you've captured a lead. You've given your 5 ways to improve your smile little ebook to someone in exchange for their email address. So what do you do next? Well, the truth of the matter is you need to immediately establish clear communication and convert that person from a stranger into a client or patient. So how do you do that? Well, unlike a plant, watering won't help, and neither will sunlight or fertilizer. What will help is strategic and proven systems that are strategically automated, that are going to nurture the person until they become a client or patient and actually walk in your door. So in order to build an open and beneficial relationship with your community, they need to fall in love with you. They need to have a face and a name to your brand. All right? So a lot of people, when they first come to me, they go, yeah, but how do I do that? What are the exact steps? So in this video, I have actually put together the exact steps you need to take, including exactly what should be in these emails. So you want to stick around and pay close attention, because as we move through this webinar, I'm going to be getting very specific of exactly how you do this, all right? Okay, so it all boils down to email marketing. How do we do this correctly? Well, the truth of the matter is, every single individual person has a story. And when patients or clients come in, the thing that they fall in love with, the thing that makes them, turns them into loyal patients and clients who stick around, is you. It's hearing the stories about you and your mission, you know, what made you get into practice. It's your personality. It's all the ways in which you love them up and nurture them so that they feel like they have a strong relationship with your practice. So I always say that really there's only 3 points to these emails that we're going to be building. They have to really accomplish these 3 things above all else. So all the rest are just mechanics. We'll get into mechanics of what you put in them and how you say it and all of that, email formatting, etc., etc. But at the bottom line of everything you do with email marketing is these 3 points. You have to build rapport, you have to gain their trust, and you have to incite action. If you can do those 3 things, you've got it made. It doesn't matter what you put in those emails. If they are doing those 3 things, you're doing a good job. So this is the most important thing about email marketing, is we can't be spammy. We can't do it in a way that violates their trust. We have to build rapport, gain their trust, and incite them to action. All right, so let's get mechanical. The way we do this is, from the moment you capture their email address for the very first time, that first week is super important. It is absolutely vital that you spend that first week building a relationship with that person. After that, of course, you know, we can have our monthly newsletter go out, you know, emailing them every once in a while, automated reminders for appointments, etc., asking for reviews. All those things can be automated, and they can go out, you know, once a month or once every few months or whatnot. But those first 5 days, 5 to 7 days, are super vital. So what do we say? Well, there should be 1 email per day for the first 5 days, and only for the first 5 days. Anything beyond that becomes spam, and we don't want to be spammy. We don't want to hit the spam part of their inbox, and we also don't want them to feel like we're just trying to sell them something and we don't care. So the very first email, I like to call it the friendly hello. And what this email is doing is it's simply establishing that relationship. So before you actually go into writing this email, you have to take a step back and actually look at yourself. You have to build a bit of a persona. It's like, what parts of you and what parts of your practice are appropriate to share with people. You're going to really need to know that before you can write these emails. So I've actually included with this webinar below your Likeable Doctor Persona worksheet that I want you to work your way through. So really what we're looking for here is, how can we define you and define your practice in a way that's going to communicate, that really represents your core values and your mission statement, so you can lead your marketplace. You can lead the people in your area towards better healthcare. So, you know, the first question I always ask when I'm working one-on-one with a client on this is, what's your story? You know, like, when did you first decide to become a dentist? Or, you know, what moment did you go from being a pet owner to being a veterinarian for small animals, right? Like, where did you make that shift? What is your story? Where do you come from? And then we want to actually add the parables and anecdotes and your story that you can use to teach and explain throughout these emails. So that defines you. Now that we've defined you, we have to look at what problems have you experienced or struggles have you had that your target market can relate to. So, if you're a pet owner, maybe you've had those fears of like, oh my goodness, what would I do if, Fluffy swallowed something and I didn't know what to do about it, right? Before you became a vet, maybe you had pets who ran into health situations, and that made you realize that that veterinary care was super important. So telling stories like that can actually make you seem very relatable, and that's what we need with these emails. And then lastly, really taking a stand and deciding for yourself what it is you stand against. Sometimes for building a loyal brand, it can be just as important to state what you stand against as it can to state what you stand for. Because everyone stands for happiness. Everyone stands for better healthcare. Every doctor wants best medicine for their practice. Or at least in my experience, the clients I've been lucky enough to work with all want that. But what do you stand against? For instance, as a veterinarian, I'm sure you probably stand against pet owners who don't take good care of their pets, or aren't, use the phrase, well, a bullet's cheaper, right? That is awful. That is not what we're standing for. So actually being willing to stand up and unapologetically state that you're against that. Same with dentists. You have things that you see that patients do to themselves or actions they fail to take with their kids that you can stand against and actually create a strong brand around that, which attracts your ideal clients and ideal patients to you. All right, so take a moment before we continue and actually write these things down. What are your stories? What can you share? What can you express about yourself, about your personality, or about your practice and its mission that people will be able to relate to? Okay, good. So let's continue. So this first email we're going to write, the first step you want to do is to thank the person for becoming a part of your, either becoming a patient, or if they just download a coupon, thank you for downloading that coupon. We're super excited to meet you, right? Some kind of explanation of why they got here. This will reaffirm that they've made the right choice. And then we want to just summarize your story. Like I said, we just wrote out what your story is. Now we're going to share that with the person to make you seem like a real person with genuine concerns, genuine problems, just like they have. And with that, we want to lay the groundwork into why you do what you do. Because again, that's going to be relatable. It's going to build trust. It's going to make it obvious that you are worth spending their dollars with. And we want to tease in your main offer. So we don't jump into selling something right in this first email. It's just a welcome and a hello and building up that trust that you're not a spammy email provider, right? But we can tease into the final offer, like stating, we really hope at some point to see you in the practice. That's a very soft way of teasing in your main offer, which is obviously healthcare and people coming in for actual appointments. All right, so that would be your first email. Your second email, we want to start out with some kind of anecdote. Again, in order to draw people in and make them actually pay attention to your emails, the best way to do this is to open with a dramatic moment. Like, I'll give you a great example. Maybe you have an emergency line where patients, when they really have a genuine emergency, can reach the doctor even at 2 o'clock in the morning. And perhaps you have a good story of when you actually did that for a patient. So let's take that story and open with a dramatic moment by saying, the phone rang. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. The lady on the other end told me that, her tooth, which I had operated on the day before, or that another dentist had operated on the day before, won't stop bleeding. I meet her at the practice 20 minutes later, and half an hour later she went from sobbing and fearful to incredibly grateful and incredibly happy and giving me a little hug before she left. You know, good. And then you just say, this is the opening to your anecdote, right? Moments like these are why I went into practice. Sure, I lost a few hours of sleep, but the truth of the matter is that I saved that woman's, sleep. I made her feel more comfortable. I made sure that she knew that I was there for her no matter what, at any time of night or day. Obviously, I hope that my patients don't always call me at 2 in the morning, but if you do need something, I'm here for you, right? So now we're touching back to the pain point. We're circling back around and making it about them, not about the story. Going into what I can do for you, whoever you is, right? Good. And then you want to resonate with a shared experience. Find something that patients or clients have often said to you and find a way to relate your story to that and show how your service or products actually help people escape that problem. So that's the authentic anecdote, and that's the core around which your second email should be. And again, remember, we haven't even really started to sell anything yet. We haven't even really started to pressure them into doing anything. We're just actually making you seem likable, trustworthy, and real, actually relatable. Like you're a human being, and they will start to appreciate that, and you're building that relationship with them. Okay, so now we come to the third email. So in the second email, you mentioned some kind of roadblock, right? We talked about a pain point that clients or patients often have. In this email, it's time to talk about your light bulb moment. That moment when you realized that you had a solution that patients or clients really needed, right? This is super important to really nail this down, because this is the first moment when we actually start to offer a product or service, and we have to prove that it really does solve their problem. So again, we want to share an anecdote, share a story, something along the lines of, and that's why I realized that there was a gap in the healthcare industry, so I decided to create XYZ. Okay, so now we're on to your fourth email. In this email, it's all about the perks. It's all about the benefits of being a patient or client. So you want to actually tell them, look, I've been talking to you a few days. Now I want to let you know what being a patient and client of my practice is all about. Maybe you have a coffee machine in there, and there's always a gal willing to make espressos, right? Or maybe it's, for patients who come in for a long dental care treatment plan or surgery, you might have like a comfort menu of aromatherapy and tea and, a hot water bottle and all these different things that the person could use to ease their comfort while you're performing some kind of procedure, right? For an optometrist, it might be the many selections of different brands of glasses that you offer. So explain the benefits. Why should I choose you over everyone else? What do you have that no one else has? We want to share those secret perks with them. And again, circle back to the why. Why do you do this for patients or clients? It's because you care. It's because you want them to feel well, and you want their pets to be happy. So really pushing those core benefits as well as the secret perks that maybe aren't quite so obvious. And you always want to share some personal example or a genuine, real testimonial video or photo of the actual client or patient with their testimonial. So that's email number 4. Email number 5 is your last chance to talk to them for a while. So you want to tell them, look, thank you so much for listening to me for the last week. I'm really glad you decided to continue to, listen to what we have to say. And we just want to let you know this is going to be our last email for a little while. You will be now put on our, monthly newsletter or whatever, but I don't want to just keep blowing up your inbox. So I'm going to leave you here with one last urgent push or whatever. You want to tell them, look, come in the next 24 hours and I'll give you an extra 2% off, or come in the next 24 hours because we have found that patients or clients who who actually schedule an appointment within the first week are the most likely to not have health problems later, or some factual fact. So you have to find some way to create urgency here. And it can't be fake. You cannot fake urgency in an email, because when you do, inevitably the patient or client figures out that it was fake, and there went all your credibility. There went all your trustworthiness. So you have to make this real, but genuinely take the time and the effort to discover how you can add some urgency to this last email. And you will find a spike in your new patients or clients when you do that. And then lastly, actually create a link with some kind of call to action, like call now, here's the phone number, or hit reply to email us, or click here to hit our booking page on our website, or whatever, right? Make it some kind of link that urges them to take action. So there you go. Those are your 5 emails and exactly what should be in them. Now, before I let you go, I actually have a couple of email formatting tips that I have found to be super helpful myself. So I want to share them with you so you can use them in this automated sequence that you're going to create for new patients or prospective patients or clients. First of all, use exciting, provocative subject lines. Don't fake these. They have to be real. You cannot have a subject line that says 5 best ways to brush your teeth, and then the email says, just kidding, actually we're going to talk about something else. Don't do that, because remember, we're trying to build trust, build a relationship, and that's not going to do that for you. So make it relatable to the content of the email, but use exciting, provocative language, like the day I realized I had a problem about blah, or 5 reasons we'll all go together, that kind of thing. All right, next, sprinkle your emails all throughout with what we call trial closes. Trial closes are short, rhetorical questions with a yes answer. So something like, that's really annoying, right? Or, that's pretty simple, isn't it? All of those types of things, they evoke a yes answer. They are what we call trial closes. We're trying to close a person to actually come in the door, right? Trial closes encourage the person to get into a yes, yes, yes attitude. So you want to sprinkle those throughout your emails. Next, don't forget to personalize. One of the most amazing things about current modern automation of emails is that we can actually personalize with the first name. We can add in contact information from the person, like, hey, I noticed that you live in Troutdale, and so therefore this is a good offer for you. You actually make use of those things. And also speak to a person. Use the word you when you're writing these emails. Don't say you guys or patients in general. Just speak specifically to a person. Write the email as though you were speaking to that one person. That way each person who gets it will really genuinely feel like you care about them, because you do, right? And then lastly, the other thing about personalization is we want the email to come from a person. Don't say, Silkin welcomes you. Say, hey, this is Sarah from Silkin, and I wanted to welcome you, right? So even though it's maybe being sent to a broad list of people, it still needs to sound personalized. All right, number 2, actually get to the point quickly. I cannot stress that enough. These emails, each one should be less than 300 words long. You want to write the email very clearly and concisely, because that will encourage people to actually read them. And then include a PS offer. Blah, 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 love, Sarah. PS, by the way, here's this great offer for you. Just so you know, PS offers are actually the most clicked part of an email. So that's where you want to put any kind of offer or encouragement to come into your practice, come take a tour, come get a free dog bath on Mondays, whatever it is that you can offer the person that they would want to accept. You want to put that in the PS. Use videos and photos to humanize your practice. So, in the friendly hello, have an actual photo of the doctor, a professional headshot or a professional action shot of the doctor. Maybe you're a dentist, it would be you actually working on a patient. Or if you're a veterinarian, it's you holding a dog or holding a goat if you do large animal, right? So actually use photos, and if you can, pay someone to do an introductory video about your practice with an actual video of you welcoming the person to your practice. And then, in a future email, maybe you want to have, hey, look, this is Sally. She's the front desk. She's going to be the first face you ever see in our practice, and actually put a picture of Sally so that people start to feel like they know your practice and they trust you because you're real human beings. The other thing I want to say actually about video and photo is use these to educate patients or clients. They should already know when they walk in the door for the first time what insurances you accept. It's okay to tell them if you already know what treatment they're looking for. Create automation with an email and a little video that will educate them about that treatment plan so that you don't have to do it when they're already there. This lets them get their own homework out of the way, and they'll feel more comfortable walking in, and you will save a lot of time. So that's just an extra added tip. Okay, remove objections before you hear them. If you've been in practice for longer than a week, you have undoubtedly heard the same objections over and over and over again. Every time, or not every time, but quite often when you present treatment, you'll hear the same or similar objections. So you already know what the common objections are, and use these emails as an opportunity to speak to those objections before the person ever thinks or utters them. So it's not that you want to say, oh, hey, I already know you're going to say blah, so here's my answer. No, instead, add something to your offer that already overcomes that objection. Maybe mention casually, and we have the cheapest prices in town, if it's true, right? Or, yeah, for this, you can't get a better price in town. That would be a nice way of saying that we match every other price, right? We're the same price as everybody else, so you might as well come here because we're cool. Those types of things to overcome objections before the person ever has a chance to utter them. Okay, next, you want to add links to your text, to the photos, to every call to action, etc. Links inspire people to, or incite them to take action. And obviously, we want people to take action from your emails. It's easy to click a link. It's a lot harder to walk in the door. So by spattering these little links throughout the 5 emails, by the time you get to the end and you're really urging them with urgency and limited time offer to come in now, they're already in the habit of taking action by clicking, etc. And so that will just encourage them to take that further action of actually walking in the door. All right, so those are the 5 emails. Those are my tips to them. The last thing I will say is that statistically speaking, it takes 23 days for a person to forget about a brand. So if you've sent out those 5 emails, don't just shut up after that. Don't just stop talking. You have to actually continuously nurture your email list. Doing things like sending out a monthly newsletter, or better, a bi-monthly newsletter, right? Sending out offers occasionally from time to time, telling people about your referral program, etc. Use your email list, because after you've let it go more than 23 days without talking to them, they've already forgotten about you. So, you might think, oh, I've got 10,000 names on my email list, but if you haven't spoken to them for a year, that email list is pretty much dead. It's basically like a garden, as I said at the beginning, and you have to water it and show it some sunlight and show it some love for it to stay alive. All right, so that's all I have for you. If you want any more assistance to market your practice, I have tons of great content for you. Go to silkinmarketing.site. That's SILKIN marketing.site. And I look forward to speaking to you. Bye.